Jackson 5's early fame and success appeared as effortless as their perfect harmonies and flashy dance steps. In reality, both were the result of relentless hard work.
We were brothers out there having fun. We were making people happy at the same time. I guess as we got older, then it started to realize that this is a job.
The brothers were constantly being pushed to reach higher creative limits, and that involves a lot of rehearsal. I would say that it affected the family in the sense that you couldn't always be a family. The family sort of became a mechanism. This was a show business vehicle.
Let's work on the It's Your Thing Until There Was a Time to feel that this together.
It seems like the moment we got with Motown, it never stopped. It never stopped. On and on every day. But once you grow up with that, that's the only life you know.
I think it was much more grueling then. And there was no MTV to put a video on and say, here I am. The only way that people could see you was 10,000 people a night, 20,000 people a night, going around and actually playing in these places. So the road was a totally different story then.
Typical day on the road for the Jackson 5 was coming into a hotel, making sure our rooms are connected so we can have all our pillow fights and run from room to room and find out what's on the menu for our room service.
Actually, your day was planned out for you. You would wake up and have breakfast, and by 7 o'clock, you're already out the door. Whether it's doing a TV show or rehearsing or doing a concert. And then you have your schoolwork, because we traveled with a tutor, and you have to do your schoolwork, of course.
Tell me something about Andrew Jackson. Who was he?
He was like 7 cents.
I forgot what year was he born in? Something I've forgotten too.
If you wasn't up on your school grades, you can become an entertainer.
A tutor on the road is really fun.
What happened to the book with the seals on?
She made sure we got our work done, but I remember one time I was reading a book upside down, and she noticed it, but I had it upside down because I really wasn't reading it, but I was acting like I was reading it.
The boys' normal tendency to slack off was counterbalanced by their father's no-nonsense attitude toward discipline.
The way I disciplined them in the state of Indiana, it worked, and I figured that it would work here in California. My boys was drug-free. They never was in no gangs, and they were good entertainers as well.
And my dad takes a very tough route out there, but my father was so tough on us, and tough in a way. He wanted us to be what we are, and he had a vision for us, so I think he's done a wonderful job.
But while Joe Jackson was responsible for keeping his sons on the straight and narrow, Catherine focused on their more personal and spiritual needs.
She was sensitive to our needs, sensitive to our feelings. Is it too much? Is it too much too soon? In raising us, she was more focused on religion and, trying to keep God in our lives and some type of spiritual belief in our lives.
We knew we had a great launching pad, so whatever was going to happen, coming to Hollywood or coming to wherever, we know we had that togetherness in Indiana, so it was going to work anywhere.
My parents trying to give us a normal family life at the time, no, that wasn't possible. It was crazy those days. I wish I could go out more and do some of the things at the time, but at the same time, I didn't. So I didn't miss it because I didn't know what I was missing at the time.
All in all, I think the family did very well as far as handling the public situation, and it wasn't nice. It wasn't pretty, as we say.
Within the band, the Jackson brothers each had clearly defined roles. Jackie, the oldest, sang backup and helped his father supervise his younger brothers. Jermaine was the band's leader. He played bass guitar and sang backup and lead vocals. Tito, the calm center of the group, played lead guitar and sang. Marlon, 2 years younger than Tito, also sang backup. Ironically, the demands of being the lead singer and the almost constant focus of public attention fell most heavily on the youngest and shyest brother of all, Michael.
The greatest line that described Michael Jackson's childhood to me was somebody once said to me, keep in mind Michael Jackson is a guy who at 10 years old was in the backseat of a limo watching cartoons as he was on the way to a concert for 18,000 people, which is such an evocative image and is so simply states what his life was like.
The brothers were and are close, but they were also professionals that were constantly in each other's face. They were constantly in the limo together, on the plane together, on the bus together, on stage together. When these tours end, these guys scatter in different directions. So I think that accounted for a lot of Michael's loneliness. He had no one else but the people that he worked with, and they happened to be his brothers. He didn't have any time to really cultivate any personal relationships outside of the profession.
I mean, Michael was, 18 before he'd ever been to a ball game? I mean, publicly. I mean, just think about that. And for some reason, I always had a soft, kind of sad spot in my heart for Michael, because he was such a genius with his little talent. But because of his growth and his popularity and those kind of things, just never got a chance to experience a lot of things. I remember we were doing a show, and I happened to see this little figure over in the corner. And I said, Michael, I said, is that you? He said, yes, you. I said, why are you sitting out there all by yourself? Oh, just thinking, And even then, he was a little boy then. And even then, he was sort of an introvert.
By the summer of 1974, the Jackson 5 had been on and off the road for over 4 years. The brothers' popularity showed no signs of fading, but what was fading was their enthusiasm for Motown. Coming up on Famous Families, the Jacksons go from boys to men, and the seeds of separation are sown.
Joe Jackson said, it's my blood that runs through your veins, Jermaine, not Berry Gordy's.
Marriage and divorce, Motown style, when Famous Families returns.